Hi everyone, welcome back to Sylvan's Way. Pour yourself a cup of tea and settle in. Today we're exploring the Lubanko Tarot by Emily Lubanko. The Lubanko Tarot began as a self-published indie deck through Kickstarter in 2020. Then in 2025, Llewellyn released the mass market edition of this deck. They preserved the original artwork while expanding the guidebook and adding additional cards for the lovers. Llewellyn describes this deck as exploring the surreal, the intense, the queer, and the divine. It also diverges from, there's something, it says it's written on Rider-Waite-Smith, but there are some divergence from that structure, and it really helps create this to be a more modern, and I feel like an emotionally resonant archetypes are like better in this than even the old Rider-Waite-Smith decks. Now, Emily Lubanko is an artist, a designer, and a tarot practitioner who has been reading tarot for over 20 years. She is actually a trained illustrator with a BFA in illustration from Rhode Island School of Design and has professional experience in digital illustration, design, concept art, and she even teaches digital illustration. Her artistic focus centers on surrealism, sensuality, nature, metaphor, and really emotional intensity, which all you can clearly see that shape this language of this deck itself. So let's dive in and take a look at this deck. Now, the packaging is a nice, I would say a medium-sized Llewellyn deck. They have been coming out with these medium-sized boxes, and I really like that. It still has that flip magnetic closure, which is really nice. Here is the back, and it says, E. Lubanko invites you to dive into the many facets of life through mystical, sensuous, colorful, and unapologetic lens. This deck and its full color guidebook are inspired but also diverge from the Rider-Waite-Smith system, creating a collection of archetypes with greater dimension and readability for modern readers. And that's kind of what I mentioned earlier. Each of the 80 cards, including 3 versions of the Lover's card, is packed with decadent meaning to meditate on, helping you decipher your personal metaphor and mythos. These cards encourage you to ask deep questions, to seek the truth in all its light and darkness. As you journey through this deck, you will discover the diversity of life on Earth and the divinity of transcending our expected forms. So that's really nice. I think that's really super awesome, that right up on the back of it. So let's open it up. Let's take a look at what it says on the inside of it. So we have, without darkness, we have no shadows to define the light. And without light, the darkness may seem unending and without boundary. And that's a quote from the author herself. We have a nice thick guidebook. Then we have cards that come with it with a pull-out string, and it comes with the little insert that allows you to stand the card up when you're, if you wanted to use that. And kind of cardboard here inserts. It does have thumb things if you needed to pull it out that way. But so that's the box, nice standard box. These are the cards. We will be looking at these in a moment. Let's look at this guidebook. And this guidebook is named Divining Light and Shadow. And it was actually written by her. So she not only did the artwork, but she also wrote the book as well. And in this guidebook, is really cool because she gives you an introduction, and then she really goes into some details about how to use tarot and how it works and how to ask questions. So, and taking a journey through the cards by asking these, almost like you could journal with this guidebook. It really gives you a lot of great things to look at. She also talks about the shadow work and light. And here it says, this deck looks at darkness and light with the same import. Each one defines the boundary of the other to form reality. Without darkness, we have no shadows to define the light. Without light, the darkness may seem unending without boundary. So that's the quote from the beginning of it. And then she says, many people have told me that this deck works well for shadow work. Early in my practice, I considered this to be synonymous with tarot work itself, to ask hard questions, to go into the depths left previously unexplored. Other people may work differently, and one important thing to note is that the work does not have to be all in, all at once. It can be incremental, continuous, or inquisitive. Shadow work has connotations of the subconscious, darkness, what lies beneath, and what is unearthed when we ask ourselves about the archetypes in our lives and what they mean to us. We will often unearth pain as well as wonder. So I really like how she dives into this and really explains how to use tarot to dive into that shadow side. So I really, really like the way that she's written this guidebook. And she gives you just enough information to be able to start taking that journey. Here she's give you some questions, loaded questions in different ways, how to do some shadow work, reading with the cards where to start, some example questions people can ask. So she's got a lot of these in here, which is just fantastic. Storytelling, making links, spreads and reversals. So she goes into the 3-card spread here. Just really, really good information. Now, I love a good guidebook. So for me, this makes my little guidebook brain happy. So, and you're going to see when we get to the cards are so fantastic. And you really don't need to know tarot, the Rider-Waite-Smith system, to dive into this. If you want to just read these cards intuitively, you could definitely do that. There's a lot to work with in these cards once I show them to you. But if you are a guidebook person, this guidebook is fantastic. So here we have like a great example. She gives you a full color image of the card, then actually tells you what's going on in this image, which is something I really like when they include that in guidebooks. I love when they give you that detailed information of what's in the image. So you can kind of find ways to correlate what it means, the Fool means, in the image itself. If you're struggling with that, this helps make those connections until you get used to using tarot and making these connections on your own without help. But definitely as a beginner, this is fantastic to have this. Then she also gives you the divinatory meanings as well as the reverse meanings. So she did make this so that you can use reversals. And some of the cards have longer explanations than others. Like I noticed the High Priestess. Here we have almost like 2 pages. The Empress, look at that. We have 1, 2, 3, almost 3 full pages on the Empress. So some cards, there is definitely a deeper dive into it than other cards. The Lovers, she really goes into the different cards of the Lovers, etc. So I love, love, love this guidebook. It is very well done. And all the way through. Now, some you'll notice have shorter So we just have a little bit. So some have more, some have less, but I think they all give enough information to really get into it if you love looking at a guidebook. So at the end of it, we have an afterwards that she includes, as well as how to write to the author. So I think this is a fantastic guidebook. I think it's really well written and put together and includes a lot of really great information. So this next, let's look at the deck and let's talk about this artwork. It is, I mean, I know everybody has been going off about this deck and how awesome it is. And I wanted to use it a little while before I shared my review. And believe me, people aren't, you know, it's not hype. It's real. Like, let me just show you these. So the tarot, she uses, like, it's very painterly, but it's expressive. It's painterly and expressive artwork. And it really feels like you're viewing finished paintings more than traditional tarot illustrations. I mean, these are like mini works of art on each one of these cards. So the figures on these are very stylized and fluid. They often blend into their environment. See how she's blending into the environment there? And it really creates this like surreal and mythic scenes and storytelling. Each one of these cards feels so emotionally charged and symbolic. It is just amazing. The color palette is really led by mood, and she uses deep navy, black, charcoal to create this shadowed foundation. And then she uses these teals, reds, and golds, and like these bright whites to break through, almost like flashes of insights. You know, and then some of the cards soften into these like pinks and sky blues and moss greens with florals, and it really offers like these moments of openness and intensity. So I am just blown away by the artwork of this deck. So overall, the deck really visually mirrors that theme, and it gives you this constant conversation between light and shadow. It really is amazing, amazing, amazing. As far as the cards themselves, they're a normal size card. So we have 70 millimeters by 122 or 120 millimeters, totally normal size deck. For our edging, we have this gray gilding, which it's just the chef kiss to this. It just, you know, it takes these cards to the next level. These are the backs, and of course, like I said, they're reversibles, and reversibles are included in the guidebook as well. And then as far as cardstock, I like this cardstock. Now, I like a thinner cardstock, one that I would say this is probably about 330, no more than 350 GSM. And I love it because it makes it so much easier for my hands to shuffle. I do not have large hands, and so it's hard for me to shuffle those really big cards. So I really appreciate the size of these cards and the thickness of these cards. Notice that I can almost get the whole deck in my hand, which is fantastic. So I really, really like the cardstock that they chose for this deck. So let's do a flip through. Let's look at these cards. Let's look at this amazing, amazing images of these cards. love those gorges. Oh my gosh. I just love them. I love, 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 love them. And I think that it probably really helps. I am a big fan of cards that have a dark background. So I love the way that this looks like, almost like a chalk, like drawing on top of a dark blue or a black piece of paper. So I just love it. I absolutely love it. I know I'm gushing, but I really, really mean it. I absolutely love this deck. So let's look at how it shuffles. It's gonna shuffle beautifully. So let's just do a quick little shuffle. Look at that. Gorgeous, beautiful, wonderful shuffle. It's fantastic. Really, really great. And then let's do an overhand so you can see that. Great overhand. And let's do a reading from the book so we can read and see how this guidebook actually reads. Give me a card to pop out here. I'm hoping for a popper. If it doesn't happen, the next one. Oh, there we go. See? Just have to ask sometimes. So we have the Eight of Pentacles. So let's look at the Eight of Pentacles. So the Eight of Pentacles. An artist runs their hand on the finishing touches of a sculpture, the figure seemingly turning toward them. Fluttering curtains reveal slowly amassed riches, figurative or literal, that grows as the artist creates. The divinary meaning is the reward of learning, of pursuing one's passion, of expanding one's skills, the obsessive state of work on the way to mastery, the tunnel vision of creation. The reversed is losing sight and grasp of reality, while one's dreams, imagined progress or path they may not have manifested, inability to see one's place in the larger scope of things. And I feel like this is the path I'm on right now too. So I have been working on honing my skills and getting mastery of the YouTube world. So I think it's really interesting that this one popped out because it's been kind of a reoccurring theme for me that keeps coming out in the cards. So that really says a lot to me. And I feel like this is going to be a great reader for me. So that is reading from the book. Now I want to do some pairings. So let's do a little zoom in and let's look at some pairing of decks. Okay, the first one is the Citadel, a fantasy oracle. I thought this one would be perfect because this deck is very modern and it has some very strong lines in it. And I thought that it would go really, really well with this oracle. So let's flip through and look at a couple of these together. And I can tell already this is a fantastic pairing. So we have the Assassin, which is ruthless conviction, with the Ace of Swords and the King of Wands. How interesting. Oh yeah, I think this is really good. Oops, I had one that was flipped over. I put it in upside down. So. Yeah. I really like also the way that this copper tone accents this. I just think it really goes well together. I really like it. I think that this is definitely a winner. Okay. That's the last one. Let's leave it at the Poet with the Hierophant and the Queen of Pentacles. Okay, the next one is The Long Way Home, a visual story. And I don't know, this is an independent deck, and it's collage with photography. But I still thought that this is such a powerful deck that it would go with this, because it's just such a powerful deck when you put these together. It is just, I'm already blown away, and I've barely flipped the cards. So, yeah. Wow. So this is definitely another great deck. So even photography decks go well with the Lubanko. This is amazing. The Long Way Home is such an amazing deck within itself. And you put it next to this powerhouse. Ugh. Look at that. Yep. It works for me. I think this would be a great shadow work combo. We have Softened with the Star and the King of Cups. Wow. That's one hell of a... I'm going to leave it at that. That's one hell of a reading. Okay. So let's look at the next one. Next, we have Liminal Spirits Oracle. I thought that the artwork of this would go really well, but also because this is really a meditation deck for me. And I thought that maybe these would go well together with this shadow work, with meditation, that maybe they would work well together. And the colors look fantastic. I mean, look at these backs. So, of course, it's got all the beautiful colors in it. Yeah, that's really good. Wow, I cannot believe how many decks are going with the Lubanko. I mean, every single one that I'm pulling out and putting here side by side with them seems to be going really well with it. It's amazing. I'm also showing you some of my favorite decks, which probably doesn't help. So I really do like these Oracle decks that I am combining with the Lubanko. So of course I'm going to like it because I'm in love with Lubanko. I think it's definitely, I mean, I know 2026 just started, but I think it might be my favorite deck so far. Okay, so that is the Liminal Space Oracle, and of course, yes, it goes beautiful. I mean, look at these yellows. Just look at these yellows. It's fantastic. Okay, now talking about shadow work, we have the divine, the wisdom of divine feminine, which of course is such a good shadow work deck that I have truly enjoyed using. And I felt like the artwork and the colors were going to go, and immediately off the bat, again, bam, hitting it out of the park with how awesome these decks are going together. I mean, just look at them. We have Radiance with the Page of Wands and Strength. I mean, the Divine Feminine, the Wisdom of the Divine Feminine has such great key words on them. And it's a really good shadow deck. And these are just really blowing me away with how great these are. Like, all of these decks, like, so good. Look at that. We have Intuition with the Page of Swords and the Knight of Swords. Let's see what's underneath them. Ooh, we got more swords. Ugh. Who shuffled this deck? Creation. Here we go. Grounding with the Two of Cups and the Hierophant. I mean, are you guys feeling it? Are you feeling it? I mean, seriously. Look at this. Okay, we'll leave that there. We have Wholeness with the Hermit and the Six of Swords. My last deck. Now, of course, I had earlier an Archetypes deck, the very first one, the Citadel. So, of course, I had to have an Alchemy deck, of course, in here. So this is the Wild Unknown Alchemy deck and guidebook that I got here. And another very modern, bright colors, black background, strong lines. I think that it's going to go fantastic with it. And of course it does. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I must like this. You know, like, I did say that one of my favorite things in decks is the ones with the black backgrounds or the dark backgrounds. I really feel like it makes those colors pop. So, of course, I have quite a few decks in my collection that would pair with a deck that has that, because I am artistically drawn to that kind of image. So we have the Despicable Face with the Eight of Swords and the Four of Cups. And look at the way she's turning away from that. They're both turning away, but that mask is looking toward it. So the Despicable Face, look at the mask. I mean, come on. This is so good. Oh, the only thing that's bad about these cards is that they are really thick and hard to flip. It's so good. The Mystical Sister with the Ace of Wands and the Lovers. So we have another winner. So I think that all 5 of these decks that I showed you pair perfectly with the Lubanko. I am so looking forward to getting to really know this deck and diving deep into its symbology and its meanings and doing some shadow work with it. I think it is going to be a fantastic road that I go down. Okay, so we will leave it at a benevolent guide with the Eight of Pentacles and the Ten of Cups. We'll leave it there and we'll do a wrap-up. The Lubanko Tarot is a rare example of an indie-born deck that moved into mass market production without losing its artistic identity. So if you enjoy decks that are emotionally representative or and emotionally expressive, surreal and symbolic, and you want deeply personal readings and shadow work, this deck offers a rich experience as both an art object and a reading tool. I really think this is going to be one of my favorite decks of 2026. So thank you for sharing a tea with me today on the Turning Cup. Until next time, may your readings be honest, your questions deep, and your cup ever full. I appreciate you. Bye.